Detailed kitchen size chart, illustrated. Detailed measurements of basic materials. Kitchen units of measure. Perfect for those without scales. When you enter your kitchen, you can sometimes start measuring while preparing the most beautiful special recipes. Especially when you look at recipes by professional chefs. You can see how strong the relationship is between kitchen measurement. Sometimes careful calculations may be required to capture the exact bait. Powder ingredients you need to add gram by gram. Liquid products are one of the details that add flavor to your recipes. When you add more flour or milk, the texture of the product you will be preparing may vary. Here, you should have detailed information about the size of the kitchen table in order to prevent possible deficiencies or excesses. If you want to apply recipes of foreign countries, you can see phrases such as 10 grams, 100 milliliters, 200 milliliters in the recipes. At such moments, the table of kitchen measurement units on this page will be very useful for you to prepare a delicious recipe. You can plan what and how much to add with cups and spoons at home. What is on this page? There is information about how many substances a glass of water, a teaspoon, a dessert spoon, and a tablespoon can take. There are also tips for adjusting the oven temperature according to your recipes. Those reading this article will make a difference with their knowledge in the kitchen. Thanks to the kitchen unit measuring table, you can easily make any recipe you see without having to measure cups. The article units of measure in the kitchen, which will attract the attention of those who want to do wonders with cakes and pastries in their kitchen and break their throats, is here to make it easier for many people to prepare delicious recipes. Let's see how mugs and spoons can help you in your home. Kitchen unit tables with all details. How many milliliters are in 1 glass of water? When it comes to measuring in the kitchen, the first thing that comes to mind is kitchen cup sizes. Classic water glass sizes, found at home, are often used in recipes. So how many milliliters does 1 cup measure? This question can have different answers. The classic water glasses we use in our homes correspond to 200 milliliters when fully filled, however. There are countless types of water cups in different models. We have always used this glass in our measuring table, as we generally prefer to measure using classic 200 milliliters glasses in our recipes. We would also like to point out, if the glass is not full, that is, we leave about half a centimeter of space on it so that it does not overflow. Then it would be correct to say that a classic glass is about 180 milliliters. Milliliter water cup. 1 cup 200 milliliters. 3/4, half plus quarter, cup water 150 milliliters. 2/3 cup 133 milliliters. Half a cup of water 100 milliliters. 1/3 cup 66 milliliters. 1/4, a quarter cup of water 50 milliliters. How many milliliters in 1 tablespoon? Another requirement that is frequently used as a glass between kitchen measuring units is a tablespoon. If you are confused about how many milliliters equal a tablespoon when using ingredients such as cocoa, flour, granulated sugar, semolina and oil, then the answers have been compiled for you. 1 tablespoon equals 1 tablespoon equals 1 tablespoon. Tablespoon milliliters. 1 tablespoon 15 milliliters. 2 tablespoons 30 milliliters. 3 tablespoons 45 milliliters. 4 tablespoons 60 milliliters. 5 tablespoons 75 milliliters. How many milliliters in 1 teaspoon? Teaspoons are our little savior for kitchen routines. It's easy to assimilate the teaspoon and milliliter measurements of ingredients to use in small amounts such as salt, baking soda, or vinegar while preparing recipes in the kitchen. 1 teaspoon equals 1 teaspoon equals 1 teaspoon. teaspoon milliliters. 1 teaspoon 5 milliliters. 2 teaspoons 10 milliliters. 3 teaspoons 15 milliliters. 4 teaspoons 20 milliliters. 5 teaspoons 25 milliliters. How many spoons are in 1 cup of water? For some recipes, you may also need to know the equivalent of a glass of water as a spoon, which is in the front corner between kitchen measuring cups. How many spoons is the volume of a standard cup of water? If you are having a hard time understanding the recipes while applying them, here is the easy way. Cup of water, a tablespoon of a teaspoon. 1 cup 13 tablespoons 40 teaspoons. 3/4, half plus quarter, cup water 10 tablespoons 30 teaspoons. 2/3 cup 9 tablespoons 27 teaspoons. 1/2 cup water 6.5 tablespoons 20 teaspoons. 1/3 cup 4 tablespoons 13 teaspoons. 1/4, a quarter cup of water 3 tablespoons 10 teaspoons. How many milliliters in 1 cup? The kitchen is where the measurement is frequently calculated. And if you browse through professional recipes, you'll see a different unit of measurement called the cup. The cup size we see in foreign sources is often confused with our own cups of water. 1 cup, which is among the kitchen measuring cups, is equivalent to 237 milliliters. Given that it has a volume of approximately 240 milliliters, it is approximately 40 milliliters more than a glass of water. For this reason, there may sometimes be errors in keeping measurements. It is now possible to find measuring instruments arranged by cup sizes at reasonable prices everywhere, and if it is said that cups are used in the recipe, it is necessary to pay attention to this in order to avoid errors. If you don't have the cup size, let's give you a working suggestion. A 120 milliliters teacup, which we call medium, is roughly equivalent to half a cup. If you see a recipe provided with the cup, you can think of 2 cups of tea as roughly 1 cup. 1 cup, how many grams? Detailed measurements of basic materials. When you use flour in moderation in your recipes, you can get fluffy cakes, shredded cakes, and fluffy pastries. Whichever recipe you use, you can use the amount of flour given to you. You can make your work more fun by checking out this list. 1 glass, 200 milliliters cup water. A cup of flour equals 120 grams, if the napkin is full. 3/4, half plus quarter, cup flour equals 90 grams. 2/3 cup flour equals 80 grams. 1/2, half cup flour equals 60 grams. 1/3 cup of flour equals 40 grams. 1/4, a quarter cup of flour equals 30 grams. Tablespoon. 1 tablespoon of plain flour equals 9 grams. 1 tablespoon of stacked flour equals 21 grams. Coffee mug, 70 milliliters. A cup of fine coffee equals 40 grams. Teacup, 120 milliliters. Medium teacup of flour equals 70 grams. Cup, 240 milliliters. 1 cup on equals 140 grams. How is a mixture of types of bread flour prepared? A. Cacao. We got to our review of the kitchen size table and how to make an easy calculation of the dimensions of cocoa, the wonderful product of our confectionery. You can use our list to get the perfect consistency in the recipes to which cocoa will be added. Glass. 1 cup cocoa equals 100 grams. 3/4, half plus quarter, cup cocoa equals 75 grams. 2/3 cup cocoa equals 66 grams. 1/2, half cup of cocoa equals 50 grams. 1/3 cup cocoa equals 33 grams. 1/4, a quarter cup cocoa equals 25 grams. Groin. 1 tablespoon cocoa equals 10 grams. 1 teaspoon cocoa equals 3 grams. 1 teaspoon cocoa equals 1 gram. What are the benefits of cocoa? All about cocoa beans. Cacao. Candy. The kitchen is the place to calculate measurements and one of the substances to be careful about is sugar. You can create a taste to your taste when using sugar, which is indispensable for desserts, with the measurements on the menu. Glass. 200 milliliters cup water. A cup of sugar equals 200 grams. 3/4, half plus quarter, cup sugar equals 150 grams. 2/3 cup sugar equals 133 grams. 1/2, half cup sugar equals 100 grams. 1/3 cup sugar equals 66 grams. 1/4, a quarter cup of sugar equals 50 grams. Coffee mug, 70 milliliters. A coffee cup of sugar equals 70 grams. Groin. 1 tablespoon granulated sugar equals 14 grams. 1 tablespoon granulated sugar equals 17 grams. The country's richest archive of dessert recipes, whether traditional or new, is in your kitchen with just a click. Candy. Starch. For starchy recipes, water cups and spoons in your home will help you a lot. Glass. 200 milliliters cup water. 1 cup starch equals 125 grams. 3/4, half plus quarter, cup starch equals 95 grams. 2/3 cup starch equals 85 grams. 1/2, half cup starch equals 65 grams. 1/3 cup starch equals 40 grams. 1/4, a quarter cup of starch equals 30 grams. Groin. 1 tablespoon of starch equals 8 grams. What is starch? What are the types? What do you do, or what do you do? Starch. Powdered sugar, powdered sugar. When using powdered sugar, you can adjust the measurement with a glass of water at home. Glass. 200 milliliters cup water. 1 cup icing sugar equals 160 grams. 3/4, half plus quarter, cup powdered sugar equals 120 grams. 2/3 cup icing sugar equals 105 grams. 1/2, half cup icing sugar equals 80 grams. 1/3 cup icing sugar equals 55 grams. 1/4, a quarter cup icing sugar equals 40 grams. Groin. 1 tablespoon of powdered sugar equals 10 grams. 30 great recipes with powdered sugar. Rice. 1 tablespoon of rice equals 20 grams. 1 cup of rice equals 160 grams. 1 cup of rice equals 95 grams. Be the star of the table with these perfectly measured and poured rice recipes one by one. Rice. Semolina. A list of units of measurement of semolina used in many popular dessert recipes from halva to ravani will be very useful. 1 tablespoon of semolina equals 6 grams. 1 tablespoon of semolina equals 14 grams. 1 tablespoon of semolina equals 20 grams. 1 cup semolina equals 140 grams. Low calorie, nutritious, vegetarian. Semolina and its benefits. Semolina. Baking powder. In some special recipes, it is recommended to use baking powder in grams. You can follow our list to not exceed the quantity. 2 plus 1/2. Half, dessert, tea, spoonful of baking powder equals 10 grams, 1 package. 2 teaspoons, 1 teaspoon, baking soda equals 8 grams. 1 plus 3/4, half plus quarter, dessert, teaspoon of baking powder equals 7 grams. 1 plus 1/2, half, dessert, teaspoon of baking powder equals 6 grams. 1 plus 1/4, a quarter, dessert, teaspoon of baking powder equals 5 grams. 1 teaspoon, baking soda equals 4 grams. 3/4, half plus quarter, dessert spoon, of baking powder equals 3 grams. 1/2, half, dessert spoon, baking powder equals 2 grams. 1/4, a quarter teaspoon dessert, tea, equals 1 gram. What is baking powder? 3 differences between carbonates and carbonates. Baking powder. Baking soda. Similar to baking powder, you can review the list of carbonation scales that allow for increased height and volume in dough recipes. 1 teaspoon baking soda equals 7 grams. 3/4, half plus quarter, teaspoon baking soda equals 5 grams. 1/2, half teaspoon baking soda equals 3 grams. 1/4, a quarter teaspoon baking soda equals 2 grams. What are carbonates? What are the benefits? Baking soda. Maya. Yeast measurements that will be your savior for pastries, bread, pastries and pastries. 1 virtual instant packet equals 10 grams. 1 sachet of fresh yeast equals 42 grams. Fresh yeast Koro Maya Maya moment. 100 grams 50 grams 33 grams. One of the most requested shifts in a kitchen's dimension table is that between yeasts. Active dry yeast, instant yeast, and fresh yeast are among the most commonly used yeasts. We always recommend that you prefer the yeast specified in the recipe. But they can also be used interchangeably. Active dry yeast is the most common type of yeast we use. It is enough to use 1 tablespoon, 20 grams, of yeast per 1 kilogram of flour. Before using dry yeast, it must be soaked in warm water for 10 minutes. Fresh yeast. 1 package of fresh yeast equals 42 grams. 1 package of fresh yeast is enough for 500 gr. Instant yeast. 1 packet instant yeast 10 grams. It is added directly to the flour, so there is no need to melt it in advance. 1 package of instant yeast is enough for 500 grams of flour. How many spoons are in 1 package of dry, instant, yeast? 1 packet of instant yeast 10 grams. 1 package of instant yeast equals 1 tablespoon. 1 package of instant yeast equals 2 teaspoons. 1 packet of instant yeast is enough for 5 teaspoons. Fresh yeast. Convert active dry yeast. Instead of 100 grams of fresh yeast, you can use 50 grams of active dry yeast. In other words, a tablespoon of dry yeast will suffice instead of 1 package of fresh yeast. Fresh yeast. Instant yeast converter. Instead of 100 grams of fresh yeast, you can use 33 grams of instant yeast. So instead of 1 package of fresh yeast, 1 package of instant yeast will be enough. Fresh yeast. Active dry yeast. Instant yeast conversion. Instead of 50 grams dry yeast, you can use 33 grams instant yeast. So, 1 packet of instant yeast will suffice instead of a tablespoon of active dry yeast. Briefly, 100 grams fresh yeast equals 50 grams active dry yeast equals 33 grams instant yeast. Types of yeast, their use and the differences between them. Koro Maya. Ghee. Butter. A must-have for cookies, can achieve delicious results when used in full force. 1 cup butter equals 225 grams. 1/2, half cup, 1 stick, butter equals 115 grams. 1 tablespoon of butter equals 15 grams. 1 teaspoon butter equals 5 grams. How to identify real butter. 6 easy ways. Butter. Yogurt. You can use yogurt to thicken your recipe. If I say how much I should use, you can compare the list of materials with the numbers we give. Glass. A cup of yogurt equals 200 grams. 3/4, half plus quarter, cup yogurt equals 150 grams. 2/3 cup yogurt equals 133 grams. 1/2, half cup of yogurt equals 100 grams. 1/3 cup yogurt equals 66 grams. 1/4, a quarter cup of yogurt equals 50 grams. Groin. 1 tablespoon of yogurt equals 15 grams. Yogurt dishes. 26 best recipes. Yogurt. Lebanon. Measurement of milk is very important, especially for custard recipes. Here are the numbers that come to mind when you want to use milk. Glass. 1 cup milk equals 200 milliliters. 3/4, half plus quarter, cup milk equals 150 milliliters. 2/3 cup milk equals 133 milliliters. 1/2, half cup milk equals 100 milliliters. 1/3 cup milk equals 66 milliliters. 1/4, a quarter cup of milk equals 50 milliliters. Groin. 1 tablespoon of milk equals 15 milliliters. What are the benefits of milk? Benefits of drinking milk regularly. Milk. Liquid oil and olive oil. The recipes you prepare with the measurements on the menu protect your stomach from excess fat. You can check out the list for full-sized results. Glass. 200 milliliters cup water. 1 cup olive oil equals 180 milliliters. 3/4, half plus quarter, cup olive oil equals 135 milliliters. 2/3 cup olive oil equals 120 milliliters. 1/2, half cup olive oil equals 90 milliliters. 1/3 cup olive oil equals 60 milliliters. 1/4, a quarter cup of olive oil equals 45 milliliters. Groin. 1 tablespoon olive oil equals 12 milliliters. Is corn oil or sunflower oil healthy? Olive oil. Honey and molasses. You can sweeten your dessert recipes with honey or molasses instead of refined sugar. Glass. A cup of honey. Molasses equals 300 milliliters. 3/4, half plus quarter, cup honey. Molasses equals 225 milliliters. 2/3 cup molasses equals 200 milliliters. 1/2, half cup honey. Molasses equals 150 milliliters. 1/3 cup honey. Molasses equals 100 milliliters. 1/4, a quarter cup honey. Molasses equals 75 milliliters. Groin. 1 tablespoon honey. Molasses equals 20 milliliters. How to identify the original honey. 8 differences between fake honey and grape molasses. Generous. Using these measurements for cream cakes and desserts, you can achieve delicious results. Glass. 1 cup of cream equals 190 milliliters. 3/4, half plus quarter, cup cream equals 143 milliliters. 2/3 cup cream equals 125 milliliters. 1/2, half cup cream equals 95 milliliters. 1/3 cup cream equals 63 milliliters. 1/4, a quarter cup of cream equals 48 milliliters. Groin. 1 tablespoon of cream equals 15 milliliters. Ready-made liquid cream recipes. 50 kinds of sweet and savory. Generous. Oven temperature. Oven temperatures are sometimes given in Fahrenheit in recipes. Sometimes we may not be able to tell what this temperature means by the numbers we are used to. In such cases, the heat exchange table on our list can help you. Night driving. Degree F, Celsius, degree C. 500 degrees Fahrenheit 260 degrees Celsius. 475 degrees Fahrenheit 245 degrees Celsius. 450 degrees Fahrenheit 235 degrees Celsius. 425 degrees Fahrenheit 220 degrees Celsius. 400 degrees Fahrenheit 205 degrees Celsius. 375 degrees Fahrenheit 190 degrees Celsius. 350 degrees Fahrenheit 180 degrees Celsius. 325 degrees Fahrenheit 160 degrees Celsius. 300 degrees Fahrenheit 150 degrees Celsius. 275 degrees Fahrenheit 135 degrees Celsius. 250 degrees Fahrenheit 120 degrees Celsius. 225 degrees Fahrenheit 107 degrees Celsius. Oven use. Temperature, program setting, tray setting. For the recipe. How to make rice pudding in the oven. Cooking units for recipe ingredients. 1 cup of water, 250 grams. Dimensions. 1 cup water, 250 grams, measuring. It has 250 milliliters. Laban 250 milliliters. Sugar salt 200 grams. Semolina 180 gr. Sugar powder, icing sugar 160 grams. 100 grams. Rice 250 gr. Bulgur wheat 200 gm. Beans 200 grams. Lentils 180 grams. Cheese, grated, 100 gr. Almonds, powder, 100 grams. Walnuts, crushed, 100 grams. Cocoa 220 gr. Olive oil 220 milliliters. Sunflower oil 220 milliliters. Melted oil 220 milliliters. Breadcrumbs 120 grams. 1 teacup, 100 grams. Measurements. 1 teacup, 100 grams, measuring. Has 100 milliliters. Laban 100 milliliters. Sugar salt 80 grams. Semolina 70 grams. Sugar powder, icing sugar 70 grams. 170 grams. Rice 100 gr. Bulgur wheat 75 grams. Beans 75 grams. Lentils 75 grams. Cheese, grated, 40 grams. Almonds, powder, 40 grams. Walnuts, crushed, 40 grams. Cocoa 50 gr. Olive oil 90 milliliters. Sunflower oil 90 milliliters. Melted oil 90 milliliters. Breadcrumbs 60 gr. 1 cup of coffee, 75 grams. Measurements. 1 cup of coffee, 75 gr. Measuring. It has 75 milliliters. Laban 75 milliliters. Sugar salt 70 grams. Semolina 55 gm. Sugar powder, icing sugar 55 grams. 155 grams. Rice 70 gr. Bulgur wheat 60 grams. Beans 60 grams. Lentils 60 grams. Cheese, grated, 25 grams. Almonds, powder, 25 grams. Walnuts, crushed, 25 grams. Cocoa 40 gr. Olive oil 65 milliliters. Sunflower oil 65 milliliters. Melted oil 65 milliliters. Breadcrumbs 40 grams. 1 tablespoon sachet. 1 tablespoon measure. 20 milliliters oil. Sugar salt 20 grams. Tomato paste 30 grams. Salt 20 grams. 112 grams. Breadcrumbs 10 grams.